Was a fast fade out. Thanks, guys. We are live now for another final hour countdown on the Rifts for Savage Worlds Europa Kickstarter. Thank you to everybody who has backed us so far. Yeah. It's been a blast of campaign. For posterity's sake, we're going to throw up the campaign on the screen. And yeah, you guys knocked out of the park. Almost 1,400 backers and just kissing 140K. Well, hopefully we'll get there by the end of the stream or by the late backing, because cool new feature on Kickstarter for those of you who are not watching this live. Kickstarter now has a feature where you can have late pledges. And because this is the holiday season, we're being extra generous and we are having all of our pledges at the same price during the campaign available for late pledge. So if you are seeing this late, you can head on over to the Kickstarter page. I will throw the link in the chats where you're looking at this right now. But it's going to be on Kickstarter. It's Rifts for Savage Worlds. And you can still back, even if you are watching this after Thursday at 7 p.m. Or 8 p.m. when it ends Eastern time. So
because we can't do deadlines either.
Right? We understand it. It is holiday shopping season. So yeah, running up against, under the tree presents and all that good stuff and Black Friday sales. So there we go. See, another more. See, look, you be nice and people back. So follow that link below. That is the link for the campaign. And we're just under an hour left. But we have with us today, let's get rid of this screen. So, I'll do the sales pitch, right? Okay, just in case you're still watching this later. I get fired if I didn't mention. Okay, this is Rifts Europa. It is pretty awesome. It is one of the best, most packed books we have done yet. If you just
packed, we had to turn it into 2 books.
Right? 2 hardcover books. One is a 200-page hardcover, which is Europa, and then there is a 128-page Savage Foes of Europa. So it is jam-packed with lore and baddies to throw against your players. And because you have baddies and lore, we give you the archetype card dossiers in the box set, which are awesome. They're like character sheets and then some, so you don't have to spend all the time making up characters. You can throw them at your players and get right into the action. And we also throw in a set of pawns with all the awesome front and back art for a bunch of the foes that are available in this boxed set, and maps. So
and Savage Foes also has Savage Tales for a lot of the different places, and a plot point campaign that links the entire continent, together in one big picaresque travelogue.
Yeah, it's an awesome offering. And then obviously it's been a hot minute since we've been back on Kickstarter. We had a game changer in between and then a backer kit reprint campaign. So for folks who are just playing catch up, we also have levels for you. So you can get just the book on Europa. You can get Europa and Savage Foes of Europa in digital and hardcover. And then the box set's got everything you need for the current campaign. And then if you're playing catch up, then we also have a great level for digital and for physical, where you also get Terra and the Dark Frontier and Land of 1,000 Islands, plus the pawn sets, plus some more maps, plus some archetype dossiers. So like all the goodness since our last Kickstarter campaign, you can catch up on that level. And then if you are just joining us on the Rifts for Savage Worlds adventure, which we are not slowing down on this because you guys are still backing us. Oh my God, look at how much stuff you can get for Rifts for Savage Worlds, guys. It doesn't even fit on my screen. I won't waste your time running through all of the SKUs, but it is a ton. I mean, Rifts has been going strong for 40 years. Savage Rifts is going into, I mean, gosh, is it 5 years now? 6?
7 at least.
Oh,
I think
geez.
it's much more. Yeah.
So, and it is, the partnership has helped Pinnacle expand our horizons on the kind of the products that we want to and can't offer you, like those dossiers, because as our favorite in the chat says, the dossiers are incredible. So,
they're my favorite. I shamelessly stole that format for the Legend of Ghost Mountain character dossiers. I was like, these are the best. I'm totally taking it.
Right? It's good stuff. So I mean, look at the shelfie you can take if you're a brand new $600, the works, amazing shelfie, multiple boxes of pawns. This big box here, the box set for Rifts, this is the campaign exclusive price for that. It will not be $100 going forward. We're going to have to raise the price on that sucker because it is heavy and packed with goodness. But if you back the campaign for as little as $1, you get access to the add-ons, the pledge manager, so you can lock in that price right now. I'm looking at all the cool add-ons. It's a ton of stuff. I mean,
and I will note that that special price that is not available in the post-campaign time. So, clock is ticking.
Right, and as Alan says, we've only scratched the corner of the mixed megaverse. But that's kind of one of the things we'll cover tonight is what the team wants to divulge where we might be heading to next. I know it's a lot after just getting one book across the finish line where we might go elsewhere. And then Daryl and I will be here to talk about kind of the other fun stuff that Pinnacle will be doing in the coming new year. So if you got questions, throw them in the chat and we'll get to them. But I think now's the time to introduce our team, the dev team. Leading up is Aaron Burkett, the Savage Rifts Lion guy.
Who's muted.
Right? The PK Levine, who is one of our dev team and a cute nerd, he says. Also writes for one of my favorite systems, GURPS, which is, what Savage Rifts is to Palladium Rifts, Savage Worlds is to GURPS. If you're on the SAT site,
No, that's fair. Yeah, Palladium and GURPS have a similar level of crunch in detail. I would agree. By the way, I'm sorry, I just want to be the first to say it. We beat Atlantis.
Yeah, screw that team.
What? No, we love it. No, I'm just happy. My point is, we're still growing. Savage Rifts. People still buying. People still loving it. Like, there's no slowing down the hype train on this system. Everyone loves it.
That is true. That is true.
Full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm. Does that mean there's maybe trains in the next one? Is that a hint there?
I mean, we've had trains.
We've had trains.
Yeah.
There's trains in Terror in the Dark Frontier.
There are. I mean, you really can't do the American Midwest without corn and train tracks. I mean, it's kind of the two things.
Empires of Humanity basically has the hover trains. So
right. I know there are a plot point in Terror, and they're mentioned and introduced in Empires.
Well, so Patrick Young, last but not least, why don't you give us a little? You mentioned the plot point campaigns. What is have you looked into the plot point campaign on this campaign, and what's your favorite aspect of that? Yeah, what can folks look forward to?
My favorite aspect is actually what's driving everything, and just how insidious he is as a concept. And so the main villain, without spoiling anything, because he's literally on the cover or on some of the major artwork, is Shaggy Peter, Struble Peter. Okay, and he is every bad impulse you ever thought you ever had, and more personified. He wants you to think you're succeeding, because that just makes the fall better.
Right, and it's definitely one of those situations where, if you give them stats, players will find a way to kill them. So this is one of the ones where, it is cleverly plotted. So you can't just rush to the end and do away. This is a force of nature, big bad.
And there's a pretty clever mechanic around how he messes with the heroes too.
Absolutely,
a little extra spice for
your players are going to hate this villain. Your players,
absolutely.
Yeah, you think you've had villains they hated? They're gonna really hate this one. I could be wrong, but it was called. I always did Strudel Peter.
Yeah, like I said, I acknowledge I'm saying it bad.
I don't speak German, so Pete.
I mean, I always mess around. I'm always like silly Peter, sexy Peter, soapy Peter, whatever.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, isn't it with demons and certain, old gods? If you know their accurate name, you have power over them. So this is the one. If you can't pronounce it, you can't beat it. Sorry, guys, that's just the way it is.
Right.
So, first question from chat from Jason Sunday, channel regular: are werewolves a playable character archetype in Europa? Can you get wild and hairy?
Not exactly. You could very easily extrapolate it, but no. Werewolves, and this is actually true for most of Europe. Werewolves have always been the bad guy in Europe, in European mythology and history and lore and all of it. Werewolves are always the bad guy, and then we have werewolves that the other werewolves are scared of, which are the weird wolves up in Scandinavia and Russia. So we've taken bad guy werewolves to the max.
And we want to preserve the flavor of the setting, so it's not just you can be whatever. In Palladium Rifts, basically, yeah, it's like werewolves bad, werecats good, and that's kind of an intentional thing. So
Yeah, there is a good therianthrope, good-ish therianthrope in Mystic Russia. We tinkered around with it, and we've got that in the back pocket if for a possible future release. The Spirit Wolf and the Shifter, not the Shifter. Oh no, Deceiver. That's what they're called. But we couldn't quite squeeze it in.
That's right. With all 2 books, and we still couldn't fit it in. So.
Yeah, there was so much we couldn't fit in.
More to come, everyone.
Unfortunately, they all have like a similar through line, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff we did that we couldn't squeeze in.
if you guys want to see more Europa, be sure to be vocal, throw money in the air. I'm not sure exactly what to do, but there's potentially a little more.
I'm a big fan of letter writing campaigns.
Our customer service is going to hate you guys.
Flood the P.O. box. Flood the P.O. box.
Yeah, right.
Just give us a we're going to post Shane Hensley's personal cell phone number. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. So there actually is some exciting news on this campaign, and I think one of the things that I think fans have been most excited about, especially hardcore Rifts fans, is that, well, one, I mean, as Palladium has said in his Savage Worlds, embodies Savage Rifts is Rifts, and there has been some new material, especially in the Scandinavian regions, that is not currently available in existing Palladium releases. So, who wants to take the hint at what kind of content is there for folks who are completionists on Savage Rifts Megaverse lore?
I'll take that one because that was my baby. That was 100% all me. I dove into that with much gusto.
So tell us what's there. What's the goodies? Give us some spoilers.
There are 3 forces fighting. One is the weird wolves that I mentioned earlier, and to give you an idea, these are werewolves with their regeneration that's managed to survive a nuclear winter. A winter so cold that nothing really survived. And they did, out in the worst of it. I'm not going to get too heavily into it, but there's definitely an element of body horror with them. And you can play that up or play that down as works for your group.
Anyone who's seen American Werewolf in London knows the body horror plus werewolves equals
plus frostbite.
Yeah, right.
Plus frostbite. I mean,
yeah.
just
and radiation damage, tumors,
and all of it. It's just it's bad. And then you have 2 other forces, which are classically against each other. You have entire villages and a string of them in the in the Scandies Mountains.
Stop it, John. We're gonna have to pay Disney if you keep going.
Oh God.
The mouse is coming for us.
And they are just kind of living their best life, hunting, raising their goats. Yes, there are giant goats for the giants. And just doing their best life, raiding the humans because, well, they're smaller and weaker, and they should just give them what they want. The humans, predictably, don't like this. But it's not just humans, because it wasn't just humans that survived the 80 years of winter. The leftovers of the tech powers that had existed in the area joined with other races, dwarves, elves. There are actually some new elves there. And there's the veneer, and they claim to be the, what's the word I'm looking for? The scions of the Norse gods. It's between them and the Norse gods as to whether that's true. But the reality is they're there. And then you have an entire group of people who do nothing but look after the two millennium tree, or one of the millennium trees. The giants look after the other one. So you've got three very headstrong and willing to fight for what is theirs factions clashing. And the giants and the humans, it's much more philosophical. For the weird wolves, they just want to eat everything. I think at one point one of us said that they would be happy just eating the sun. And that's actually true. They would be just happy eating the sun.
Nice. Most excellent. The well, and so you mentioned like, so previews, like this campaign has been chock full of previews. So if anybody is like on the fence or watch this later, we've got 2 different actual plays. So let me toss those links to those in the comments. You guys can check those out in your own time. The first one we had, the dev team did a preview actual play, which is a lot of fun. And then, as you're seeing in the comments, John Doom is going off on cough cough frozen metaphors. And we had a special guest actual play last evening, and yeah, nice. This dinner table was in the first actual play, and then last night we had another actual play from a guest game master. And so you guys, I mean, if you're looking for Riffs Europa content, it is super evocative. Lots of people are very excited about getting these and running these adventures and the campaigns. So that one is also in the chats. And then in a minute here, I'll run through. We also did some drive-thru RPG stuff, some previews that you guys can check out too. So we'll get to those in a hot second. But the so awesome. The let's see. Next question from the chat, we have Grand Paladin asks, "Hey all, I missed much of the last streams. It was covered before. No worries. What is the status of the OG Rift's temporal wizards and magics? What makes the Savage Worlds interpretation unique?"
All right, so let me try to go over this in a way that doesn't exactly repeat what we said. Try to share some new info. So we are absolutely, you are going to get stats for you're going to be able to play temporal wizards. You're going to be able to play temporal warriors, and you're going to be able to fight or serve temporal raiders. We absolutely kept the whole sort of indentured servitude, kind of that gray, darker area. That's if you want to pursue temporal magic, you've got to kiss the ring of some pretty what's the best word? Like sociopathic. Evil, but like affably evil, sort of temporal raiders. We're like, oh, they'll just have you do a mission, just a little mission. If you don't want to kill anyone, they'll be like, okay, this person's willing to kill anyone. And then you find out like years later that, oh, I stole a little something. It's like, yeah, and it decimated that village. Everyone was wiped from the face of the earth, and the demons got free. Thousands are dead because of you, that kind of thing.
Sponsors Roger Stone.
Yeah, exactly. Temporal magic, though, and credit to John Stevens, who came up with the nexus of this. He had a big hand on this. He and I worked together on it quite a bit. But temporal magic is temporal modifiers. If you know temporal magic, you get access not only to a couple of new powers like time warp, fast, slow, and time shift, but you get temporal modifiers that you can add to things. You can use conceal magic, not just to hide your aura, but to actually conceal items within basically a pocket of holding inside of your bag. If you get slumber, great. You can use slumber to put someone in suspended animation, or to seal a chest so that no one can access it. Throw the bomb in the chest, cast this on it. You cast slumber on a chest, that's going to do nothing. You cast this on the chest, and that bomb is not going to go off until the spell expires, and then boom. So that's how we're doing temporal magic. That's the big thrust of it. You got mega modifiers, you got temporal modifiers. You could use them both if you're a master of magic, and if you're not, you could still use one or the other. So they just interact really well together. So hopefully that's clear.
Oh, John, the puns, man. The puns.
Wow.
Oh, fantastic. The I do like how the rest of the chat is commenting in on this. But we've got another question from Jason Sunday, looking dapper in that tie, sir. Are there new options for the Tomorrow Legion iconic frameworks, like say Cyber Knights?
Well, not Cyber Knights specifically, but there are options for Tomorrow Legion iconic frameworks. The Crazies, Mindworks is in Germany. And if y'all don't know about Mindworks is where they took the Mind Over Matter implants and they made them crazier. All right?
Poland.
This is where,
It's in Poland.
yeah. And sorry.
Technically
Poland,
Czechia,
right?
but yeah. It's in the
All right,
Carpathians.
fair enough.
Close enough.
It's all Europe to me.
It's on the continent.
Sorry about that.
That's the guy who wrote England.
I mean, yeah, England's Europe, absolutely. England's Europe, just like Ireland's England. Sorry, I'm gonna get.
Oh, we got some negative comments and unrelated to Savage Riffs about whether the UK is Europe now or not. Now there's some hard feelings over Brexit. I think
this is why we did. We called it Europa, the whole area. It's Europe and environs. That's very intentional. We included the Mediterranean. We included some of Africa. Is Russia in Europe? No, but it's Europa, England, no problem. Yeah, Cynetic Crazies, absolutely. You get all that. The Ecto Traveler, my personal favorite. Play tested that one. Had one of the crazies in our group take it. For those who don't know, that's when a crazy basically gets weird stuff done to his implants and then is strapped to a bed and dies and has to reform his entire body from ectoplasm. Is the short version of things. And that's just as weird as it sounds. And it means that now their body is kind of like fluid in the concept of space and location and what it can do. And it makes the crazy.
Yep. Time and space get wibbly wobbly for them.
It's a ghosty crazy.
Everything gets wibbly wobbly for them.
Mm-hmm.
Or goopy. Yeah.
Oily.
Moist.
Also, this isn't from the Tomorrow Legion Field Manual, but Necromancers, because this would have been the book to really probably do Necromancers if we hadn't already done them. So we were like, well, we have to make Necromancers cooler. So Necromancers get a couple of really good iconic edges to really kind of bring them up and make them more than just the zombie power.
Yeah, I mean that is like the northern African part of the Europa, right? There's
and Russia.
It's in Russia.
Yeah,
and Russia.
Both.
Yeah. Classic Palladium Necromancers are really more like magic cyborgs in a way, where they're like grafting onto themselves like the dead parts of magical creatures and taking on some of their properties. And we get to do that. PK knocked it out of the park with it.
To be clear, so we didn't go for like that as the playable thing. Those were like more the evil necromancers who like grabbed corpse parts to themselves, like, oh, I'm just gonna graft this dead dragon arm to my back and have it attack and such. But PC necromancers, the more polite, ethical ones, also get like some very good new iconic edges that they're gonna like.
Okay.
Shout out to Balthazar. You are correct. Russia is only stops at the Urals. Past that is Siberia. And everything and that's all Siberia is part of Central Asia. And the Russian frontier is very much the classic conception of what is Russia. Past the Urals, That's referred to as Siberia. That is outside the bounds of our book.
Love it.
The non-ethical ones, it's in pieces.
the libertarian necromancers, just leave me alone. Don't tread on me. Brains. I love it. Love it. Okay, so this question comes up, and this one's near and dear to my heart because I happen to be doing a blind play test of Tracy's Han cluster, and my character was a robot. And the very first roll I made in the game was a fear check, and I got a crit fail on the fear check and then rolled a 20. And so
nice.
Can a robot in this campaign in Savage Rifts suffer a heart attack from a failed fear check? Because
yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's totally
sure.
how I would roll.
Absolutely.
If you've got the fearless, if you've got the fearless special ability, you're fine. Otherwise, blue screen of death, baby.
Right. I mean, at that point, it's just wiping out the programming, like
Exactly.
it's a programming cascade fail.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to tell me your computer never found something that it objected to so hard that it just absolutely. Burp,
Yeah,
done.
exactly.
I work in
just
IT. I can tell you that's a fact.
Yeah,
right. I mean, the word death is right there in blue screen of death. So
trappings.
Heart attack does not have to be strictly literal, guys.
Yeah.
right. You don't have to have internal organs to have a heart attack. You're fine. The Voice of One says, what can you tell us about the nuclear winter survivor race monster? Like, what is going on with After the Bomb?
Well, I mean, they're talking about the weird wolves there, I'm assuming, and without spoiling too much, not much more. But as much as I give you, that they really do amp up the regeneration. Like they can regenerate from anything, short of complete destruction. So, yeah, they are it's the ravenous hunger that you would expect from Norse mythology for wolves, and the utter indestructibility that werewolves wish they had. And there are standard werewolves in the setting. I mean, Romania exists. The vampires down there don't play either. But
and the Russian frontier has werewolves, right?
Right.
But the weird wolves are
another step.
Yeah.
Nice. Most excellent. So I did promise that there were free previews, so I want to show you guys the first one. Link is in the bottom here. So we mentioned Cyber Knights. There are these cool baddies called Supreme Nexus Knights. And let me see if I can't also...
And they're just as good and noble as the Cyber Knights. Just ask Merlin. He will tell you.
Just ask them. They'll tell you.
Take our word for it. They do have stats, so they can be killed. So over on Drive Thru RPG, this is free. You can go download it right now. No cost. There is the creature feature Supreme Nexus Knight. And we mentioned these in our first stream. So if you want to go back and check our YouTube history, we did kind of a rundown of just kind of how badass these guys are. And then the second one is of the Mind Bleeders, and also free on Drive Thru RPG. So link in the comments right now. These are also pretty damn cool. We didn't do as big of a in-depth look at these, so I'll kind of run through the file right now. Of course, it's got sample stamped on it because I'm looking at the sample, but yours will not if you download this. But the pretty beefy stat blocks. We kind of give you the whole thing in here, so you can just see how these baddies operate. What is to the dev team? What is the concept of a Mind Bleeder? Like, what are they? What do they do? What's their shtick?
PK, you want to take this one since it's this was your baby?
Sure, absolutely. I just didn't want to be talking too much. So so the Mind Bleeder. So they're it's a little complicated, but let's just simplify it as they're DBs who are a lot like regular humans, except when they start using their psychic powers, the huge forehead veins bulge out in like a grotesque manner that make people go, "Oh my god, that's a Mind Bleeder," and no one likes them because they're Mind Bleeders. So their whole thing is they can draw energy out of your brain, and when they do so, which the drain power points ability. I'm just going to tell you, it is drain power points. But when they do it, it causes pinprick hemorrhaging in the brain, distracting and like harming and bothering the people who they're doing it to. And they're also incredibly powerful psychics, all of them. Effectively, they're almost like racial mind melters, is almost the easiest way to put it. But definitely a little different. They have some very unique and interesting abilities. And if they decide to drain your power points and spend them, great. But if they don't and they hoard them, they actually get to improve their physical abilities. They become faster. They become tougher. They become harder to put down. And we made iconic edges for them. And of their 3 iconic edges, 2 of them can be used by mind melters. So y'all want some more iconic edges for your mind melter? You want the mind bleeder. I do like their standalone, their unique iconic edge first. Bleed them dry, because it's the one where you say, "Oh, someone doesn't have power points. I don't care," and you just drain them completely. But you want to make mind melters even worse. You want to tick off the GM who's already sick of the player relying on the puppet power. Well, guess what? We got more puppet power modifiers. Make your GM hate you.
So not only can they kill you with mind bullets, they can suck out your life essence and use it against somebody else. It's pretty fantastic. So I mean, Europa. So again, the book is bigger than just 7 or 8 countries in the middle of Europe. It's continent spanning North Africa, Scandinavia. We get a little bit more Splugorth action in there. So hints about what's going on in Atlantis and Antarctica, all the way through Russia. So
also Rome.
Yes. What is going on with Germany and Rome, guys?
So Germany is in an interesting spot. Since, as people who know know the deep lore, the War of Ages between the Gargoyle Empire and the New German Republic has been in a stalemate for a long time, until through a combination of events and the Gargoyle Empire's overextension, there's finally been a real breakthrough on the NGR side of things. And they're in a really interesting spot, both domestically and abroad. And we kind of get into some of what that means, and also some local domestic unrest. Just the nature of societies under these sorts of stresses, right? And in Rome, we have Neo-Rome, which is the offspring of the Megaversal Legion. In Land of a Thousand Islands, we introduced the idea of the Megaversal Romans, as already laid out in the original South America 2. There were the Lost Legions of Rome were the founding members of the Dakirs, private military contractor startup. Enough of those guys stuck around to remain a major contingent, and they, after winning their freedom, they pretty much were like, I wonder what's going on with the Eternal City, and trekked across the Atlantic Ocean, much to their own peril. And they've spent several decades becoming a power block in the area, allying with local disparate group survivors, clinging to the Apennine Peninsula, and fusing them together into a much stronger whole.
And the Megaversal Legion is kind of Sean Robertson's baby. So you're going to be seeing more of them in the main Rifts line too, because he's going to make sure that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Neo-Rome was very much like, Sean's like, hey, write more on Rome. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, you should add more. I'm like, okay, we'll expand more. And he's like, how about more? I'm like, Sean, just get in here and help write this.
This is something like a book in and of itself, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah. PK initially had a really economic submission, and then Sean was like, but more.
Yeah, Neo-Rome.
But more.
I said more!
I think it's actually the large. It went from one of the more smaller chunks of the Mediterranean chapter to one of the largest chunks, possibly the largest portion of it. But y'all are including unique Mars packages, tons of new equipment. It's pretty insane. There's going to be a lot of cool new additions to the Rifts universe in it.
Same with NGR, because they've got the robots.
Right. Big robots means big gear chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Or gear section.
You're welcome.
Right? Yeah. When you think NGR and Rifts, that's what you think. He's like, but what about the toys? That's what they bring to it.
What about the robots? Yeah, and we hit all the high points. The only thing we didn't do is the Glitter Boy variants. We've kind of got a mandate against Glitter Boy proliferation. but everything else is pretty much in there.
Anything that isn't that was in Tri-X 2 was probably very experimental and
Right.
very small numbers created. Even though they feature prominently in the book, they just didn't actually make it into the wider army as a whole. Because kind of like kind of like Northern Gun, the NGR loves to experiment.
I was going to say, or pick your favorite, World War II proxy or whatever, like Tiger 2s. Yeah, but there are only a few,
It's like it's not really going to come up, but it's cool to talk about. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, quick note. Someone asked me this on the forum, so I want to make sure the word. Someone asked this on the Kickstarter campaign, so I want to make sure word gets out because when you quoted about someone asked about temporal magic and about enhancing old existing frameworks. But one thing I forgot to mention is that there actually were 3 classes that were kind of known for using temporal magic in original Rifts, and that was the Temporal Wizard, the Temporal Warrior, and the Paradox Shaman. If you have, do you have Terror on the Dark Frontier? If you don't, what the hell's wrong with you? But if
you can get this add-on in this campaign.
Yeah. Terror on the Dark Frontier, even if you're like, well, I'll never run the adventure. I don't know why you would say that, but even if you did, you're sleeping on the player book has some really, really good Mars packages in it. The Paradox Shaman was the only one that kind of felt a little like 90% there because it had temporal magic. Well, now we've made sure that it has access to temporal magic in this book as well. So there's we didn't rewrite the template. There's just a new edge that sort of backdoors in access for the Paradox Shaman. So now you got options even if you don't want to serve the Temporal Raiders.
Nice. So Shad's getting excited about some giant talk. So Voice of One says much appreciated. Sounds epic on their last question, but looking forward to giants. And are they related to the Kingdom of Giants in Turkey? And is Turkey covered? And High Command gives a little hint. The giants of the Scandies Mountains are unique themselves. So talk giants, and then is Turkey covered at all, or is Turkey for a later book?
Anatolia, as it is classically known, is largely shrouded in mystery. A lot of the stuff that's been written about it is not in text that we can draw upon. We know that Pharaoh Rama Set has trade alliances going north and far east into the Near East, the Middle East, Central Asia, stretching all the way to India. And so the giant kingdom of Anatolia, which again we can't really say anything about, would be part of that network.
Nice. Cool.
And the giants themselves are people. They're not a monster. The giants of the Scandies are people. They're giant people, but they are not. They are very much of the, we're not some monstrous invaders. This is our home. Now, whether that's true or not, that goes into propaganda and philosophy. But as far as they are concerned, their home. This has always been their home.
I can just see the little signs that giants are people too. Little protest. Yeah.
I really liked one thing because I was kind of working in my own area. I wasn't really up on the Scandinavia side of things because we compartmentalized a little bit. And when I finally came back and read like the Jotun stuff, I was really proud. Like I loved Patrick. Like kind of took the Jotun, right, and it's like they have classes, right? So it's like like the Jotun herder, like the Jotun, basically a Jotun ley line walker, a Jotun crazy, like a Jotun, like you have. You know what I mean? Like very much like they have character classes, not just
right. They are now. We don't have them as a race because they will not point out. It just we couldn't balance them if we tried.
A 2-point Jotun would be hilarious.
But they are definitely meant to feel like the kind of foe that you look at and go, no, I can understand where they're coming from. I may not agree with them. I may not agree with anything they've got to say, but I can see where they're coming from. And
you're going to negotiate with them.
Right. But that's not the werewolves. The werewolves they just want to eat everybody. including the giants. They don't care.
So yeah, one follow-up question from Jason, because he's got one of those players. I think we should have an intervention, but he really has a player who wants to play a werewolf. He wants to play a Viking/werewolf. How would you recommend building this type of character? His gut reaction says Mars package and the horror companion.
Right, because there's a precedent in Rifts for things that aren't from the Rifts universe that get plopped into it by going through a rift. And it turns out like there's all the rest of Savage Worlds to pull those kinds of characters from, run them through the conversion process, and then just sort of drop them in. So
yeah, the Mars instinct is not bad, because that is the way of getting a less alchemically powerful or superpower kind of level character with enough points to be in the neighborhood of balance. So
yeah, the werewolves in Horror Companion are essentially built out as 15-point supers characters. So like they're not quite Mars, like they're kind of in this little half area where a like full conversion where you say like, oh, screw it, just build from the ground up and dump into Rifts instead of taking a framework is like 30 points.
Just a thought, if they're built on 15 points, like my instinct would be to be like, okay, so just make build a Mars character, but instead of a Mars package, give them werewolf and like 2 edges. And instead of giving them a race or the Mars package, but otherwise build them as Mars, and bam, there you go.
Yeah.
Because Mars are about 16 points, so 16, 15, 17, somewhere around there, and then give them a free edge because they didn't take a race.
Nice, hot, good answer. The on the fly character building. The friend of the show, Peter. How's it going, Peter? The what can you tell us about what's included out on the Russian frontier?
The list is actually shorter of what I got. I mean, the shorter list is what did I remove. We hit all we hit the warlords, we hit their power dynamic, like their web of alliances. We covered the new Soviet Republic, the DBs therein, playable and unplayable. Wolverine person's playable. Grid gets not really. I mean, that's an ogre or just being a normal guy with the brawny edge. We've got the shock troopers. We've got Coldborn. We've got Mystic Kuznaya. We've got what am I missing? We got like
Mogateer.
14 pages of demons. We've got 2
Mogateer.
A lot of
demons.
Yeah, because Russia has archaic demons, so there's yet another flavor of demons for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Russia is built on the concept of and it's actually plays pretty heavily throughout the whole of Europa, but Russia's built pretty heavily on the concept of knight as opposed to soldier.
Right. A strong warrior culture in strong contrast to the NGR. Like I've described it before as like Cyborg Conan, and it's very much the Russian Civil War with Cyborg Conan going on, and like Baba Yaga and witches, and it's a dark, great place. I love it. It's one of my favorite regions in all of Rift Earth, and so I did everything I could to try to get my enthusiasm for it across off the page to you, the reader. We'll see if I was successful, but yeah.
Nice.
I cut more. There's the list of what isn't in there is very short. It's almost all in.
Oh, super awesome. See, Chad already loves the Russian demons, so the and then a sentient native community. Interesting. The good stuff. Okay, so GM James is in the chat. He is at PAX U right now. So Jody and Clint are there. So if you want to stop by Carolina Game Tables and say hi to Jody and Clint there at PAX U, and you go stop by GM James and say hi and get a Knights of the Smith Dinner Table Benny. He's got a very cool electronic setup. You can play on the tabletop stuff. It's very awesome. So go check out his booth there.
Speaking of Knights, actually, like it's probably worth mentioning. So I feel like one of the Mars packages that's sort of once you get outside of Germany, anywhere sort of north and eastern of Germany, from England all the way through Scandinavia, through Russia, the Knight Mars is a new package that we have iconic edges for. It's kind of like the Priest, where there's all these different order edges to represent the different kinds of knights. And so that's a major theme throughout, like the wilds of Europe and throughout England. So everything from the Russian warlords like war knights to a knight of the Round Table in Camelot, like you're going to have options to do that, and it's a very fun package that I think people will like.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, clearly we mean it when we say this is one of the most jam-packed, or if not the most jam-packed Rifts for Savage Worlds release we've done. It is super beefy in content and very impressive. The amount of real estate you guys have been able to cover in content-wise and in metaphorically. So, because we will end on the hour because we've got a double header tonight. In a little less than 45 minutes from now, at the bottom of the next hour, we're going to have Savage Universe. We got Rudy and Sebi from Geeks and Gamers talking Pathfinder Savage Worlds and their actual play of Curse of the Crimson Throne. So we will end this one on time. But so the last couple minutes we've got left, I know I'll be asking Daryl what we're doing for non-Rifts properties, like what might be our next pinnacle products. But since we've got you guys here,
we were moving east anyway.
And PK just mentioned that we hit 140K on the campaign, so thank you all for that. Big heart. Let's go see. We'll pull it up at the end of the stream. But mine still shows 139.4. So let's see if we can't get the little update there.
And I just saw John Doom's comment that he was punning for Clint. So it's like, oh, so I get to blame Clint instead of John. Got it. Noted for the log, John.
Nice. Well, thank you for putting us over 140K, folks. That's really exciting. It moved before I could share the screen, but awesome. We'll bring that back up at the end of the show. We'll actually do a little countdown with the confetti.
Watch the confetti fly.
Right, the funfetti. It's nice. But okay, so before we get to what's coming up in the new year, because this will be our last campaign of 2024. So you guys.
This was a busy year. Like everyone needs a breath. Like you need a breath. We need a breath. Like there's going to be a little bit of.
Okay, it's a busy 2 months. What do you? A year.
I know, right? If we don't have an actual nuclear winter this winter, it'll be a good thing, guys.
We had a lot of stuff that we wanted to get into people's hands as best as we could, and that meant hustling a little bit to try and get it out there. But yeah, we got a little bit of a calm coming up, but by the end of the first quarter and or second quarter, we should have Deadlands Dark Ages starting to show up. I know we've said it before. We mean it this time, like for real. We've got some stuff for Doomguard coming. Yes. Not just the board game, which we can talk about too, but also Savage Worlds tie-ins from Necessary Evil to Doomguard to kind of show people like, no, this is the same setting. These are all together, right?
I'm super excited about that. So one of the things about Doomguard is that it really is rooted in Savage Worlds lore. It comes out of the kind of Necessary Evil universe. You get to play good guys too, and so we just wanted to make sure that there was a obvious narrative connection between the board game and the RPG. Yeah. So there's some fun stuff. We're experimenting with a little new format of release for this. So that's exciting. We're going to call them showcases. And so that's pretty exciting as well. So yeah, Doomguard's coming back, and the nice thing is we figured out a way of doing the figure fluff, the pawns in the box. So a nicer price point for folks who just want to get in. So I think
for the board game, and I'm kind of speaking for Mike here, right? But the idea with the board game was like, okay, what can we do to slim this down to pack it with fun, but also like lower the price, to get people to play it and see like, no, this isn't just an excuse for stuff. It's a game, and it's a really, really good game if you've ever played it. So just finding ways to get the game to people as cheap and efficiently as possible. And also it all connects with the rest of your Savage World stuff, right? Like you've got pawns from Super's Companion, from Necessary Evil. These will add to that, like mix and match and so on. And in fact, like if you've played Necessary Evil 3, that one of my jokes is there's the Necessary Evil crew get to fight the Doomguard, because that's what happens when two superhero groups get together. Like they have to have a fight. Like it's a law. So if you want a preview of the team, like you can actually fight them, and there's a little sidebar for what happens if you kill them, because they're kind of important. But Necessary Evil villains.
I mean, it's super. So we'll find a way of having a reissue where somebody comes back, right? Yeah, that's always the way too.
Yeah. Another thing that will be coming up will be, this probably won't be a Kickstarter campaign. It will be one of our kind of smaller backer kit ones, but it'll be the next book for Lost Colony, which is Pestilence. It's called Mad World because the Banshee. I know, right? Well, but Banshee is a living planet, and we wanted to approach this idea of we've got the Reckoner pestilence on this planet. What happens when an entire planet is getting sick enough to go mad? And go figure, it takes place in the Toxic Jungle, an area that's mentioned in the core book, but we get to go really dig into it and some of the things that the Anuk can do there that are different. And 3 of 4 Reckoners that you'll have fought by the end of that one. One more to go.
Oh, nice. Right. Yeah. No spoilers there. This is the reckoning with the Reckoners has come.
The whole point of this one is ship them off there and fight them and take them down. You don't have to win, but
we couldn't beat them in the past, so you must kill them in the future because that's the only way humanity will survive. So,
and by the end, you'll find out a little bit more about the past too. We've kind of got a story brewing with the Reckoners between Dark Ages, between Lost Colony, and all that that kind of ties the whole thing together a little bit.
Yeah, and you might see some familiar faces and worn out places along the way.
Nice Mad World lyric. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, so good. Awesome. So Peg is we're on a roll, but yes, and just in case you missed the beginning of the stream, we are leaving base pledge level, same price on the Europa campaign through the end of the year at least, just so you can recover. And maybe if you get a Christmas gift card, you can come back and grab something that you didn't grab. And so that'll be on Kickstarter. We won't launch the backer kit until the new year for the pledge manager phase. So that's our little.
The major difference in that will not be the price on the books. The price of the book is the price of the book. The biggest difference is the box where we're putting all of these items together in one place. That's not really a regular product going forward. So there will be ways to get that stuff in the future, but to get them all together with Europa in a box, that's pretty much, you're looking at this. So
nice. And so so I think with our few minutes left before we get to the big countdown, I'll turn it over to the dev team. No promise. You don't have to make any statements that we have to stand by. But what are you most excited about developing next in the Megaverse? That's a little more open-ended than what will be in the next book, because we need to give you guys a break too.
Right?
Theoretical.
Yeah. What are you guys excited about the next part of the
hypothetically?
Aaron, you got to lead us
I do. I thought
you're in charge, man. You got to set the tone. You're the
I thought if I was in charge, I got to go last.
Oh, okay, never mind.
But okay, no, I'll go. The thing I'm looking forward to next is going to be the ways in which the team figures out a way to make the disparate elements of the remaining world books into a cohesive whole. That's one of the things in Europa that I was really impressed by, is keeping everything fast, furious, and fun, relentlessly simple, and also finding thematic core to the world building and the mechanics that run throughout cover to cover. So yeah, that's what I've got.
Nice.
All right. Well, I'm like the game mechanic guy, so I'm just gonna be indulgent and just say, mystical martial arts. I want to do those. I want to bring weird mystical martial arts into Rifts to do justice to what was done in Rifts China, in Rifts Japan, and in other world books that kind of brought it in, and make the ability to have characters who can be crazy wuxia folks, but also just the bizarre stuff that Rifts has, like map walking mystics and freaking like people who gather balls of energy into their hand and like whoosh around with it and so like the cool weird rifty take on martial arts, especially the Wujikian take, if you will, and doing justice to that, but keeping it, savage.
Yeah, that was really exciting too, because I mean, it serves as a nice bridge between kind of what Daryl did on Legends of Ghost Mountain, and then what might eventually be a Savage Worlds martial arts companion, if such thing ever does exist. No promises, but
I'm gonna steal from Daryl. I already warned him. I'm like, I'm like, you realize I'm just gonna I'm knocking your book out and rifling through its pockets for loose change. I don't give a damn.
Fair, like that's what it's for, right? All that stuff is meant to be like out there to build upon. And really one of the biggest reasons why we're not announcing a martial arts companion for the next year or whatever is we want to play with it, right? We got to get that stuff out there, see it, then roll it back in, just like we did with science fiction and horror and all those. Like those are tried and true because they went through the fire. And so now some martial arts needs to go through some fire before we'll companion that out.
No, it is true. I mean, that is like to pat Shane and crew on the back every week is playtest day. I mean, like gaming day is a thing. It is not just about getting together and having fun. It is putting the system through its paces. And there's just a crazy amount of things that like might sound elegant on first draft on paper that don't play that way at the table. And there's I say the courage, because I think it's amazing, because it's so easy to just write something pretty and publish the PDF, right? Versus nope, that's not going to work at the table. That is not the vibe we want or the fun we want. And to make something that might be a little harder to read or not as seemingly elegant, but it actually plays better and is more fun and durable throughout all the use cases, right? Like I mean, even tonight we had a guy's like, listen, I know you don't have werewolves here, but can I really put a werewolf PC in my thing? We those considerations kind of have to be made where they don't break everything. And anyways, the amount of playtesting that goes on is actually really cool. I think that's one of the major strengths.
And that's funny. And what's funny in Rifts is it's like we weren't worried power wise about werewolves going on at all. It's literally just the world lore. It's like, no, these shouldn't be here, not because they're too tough or anything. It's just
Yeah, 100%. So Patrick, what is your most excited thing to work on, develop, bring into the Savage side of the Rifts megaverse?
In 77 seconds or less.
I am 100% the guy who loves all the lore. That is what drew me into Rifts in the first place. And I'm excited to get to explore some of the forgotten areas. Like everybody knows Japan, everybody knows Australia, everybody knows China. Some people know Antarctica. But there are some other places that are equally cool. And I want to shine some light on those. And that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. And some of them are a little more overpowered and cool than you think they are.
Nice.
The other thing is that a lot of those corners, there is more detail about them than you think in some weird spots. It's just a matter of getting in there into the nooks and crannies and pulling out the meat. In this book, Romania is like that, where there's a detail about what's going on in Romania in Rifts, Canada.
There's stuff about Russia in Rifts.
Yeah,
and they do the work for you. They do all that for everyone.
Oh, here we come.
Here we come. Second
final
countdown.
10. Oh, 9. Here we go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Well, someone did. Oh, look at that. The numbers went up. Look at that.
Yeah. In before the lock.
Someone made number go up. Good you.
PK is magic, guys.
You're our new favorite.
I'm the puppet master. I commanded and it happens.
1379 backers is great too.
Right?
There's still a lot of love out there. Love it.
Yes. The
campaign
awesome.
Keep going up.
I mean, so here's the great thing: is the Savage Rifts. All of the Rifts books are just as relevant. I mean, going to use them and pull the lore out of them is perfectly in line with what we are doing. We're not here to supplant those books. We're going to just make it playable in the system that we love. And so yeah, it's a fantastic partnership with Palladium. So again, thanks to everybody, Palladium and Kevin and Sean and the rest of the crew there for letting us play in your sandbox. And the EUROPA was a great success, and I'm really looking forward to all the work that you guys are going to put out there as well. The Jason says that even though the weepy martial arts thing, I think it's great, fantastic. He's still backed it. So thanks for the money.
Play
Jason.
one of the other 4 emotions.
But I love the kind of the boundaries of role playing that you guys are all pushing with what is possible and in design and content. And so yeah, I'm excited to see. We don't even have a name for the next project yet. Like what is an encompassing word for what makes sense for?
We have a name. We had a name for the next project before we had the name nailed down for this one.
Oh, you do? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you willing to like put it out there to give a little?
Only if Daryl gives the thumbs up.
I said in these preview things we preview. If they showed up to here, we'll tell them. Yeah.
Okay. The next one is called Ends of the Earth.
Nice. Well, that's a fantastic way to end it. So stick around for Ends of the Earth, fans. I thank you all again for showing up on this amazing campaign. We're super excited for the line. This is a great way to end the year, and we especially because we threw you guys up against Black Friday and all the Thanksgiving and New Year's sales. So this has been awesome. So thank you for backing us so heartily. Again, we'll get it up to 1380 here in a second because I guarantee there will be a late backer who's only just now funding the campaign. And but I mean, 1,379 backers and over 140K is fantastic. So thanks for everybody at Pinnacle for all the backers and all the support. We will be back with some Ends of the Earth on Risk. And then we'll be back in the new year. Again, like Daryl said, we're going to check out a little Arthurian fun stuff in
Dark Ages, Lost Colony, the Doomguard, ETU in that pipeline.
Yes, yeah. Get your tickets to ChupacabraCon 2025 because we're going to go down there and party with the boys and girls who developed ETU 2. So it's a thing.
So much stuff is coming. It's why we had to put out so much this year to make some room.
Right? Yeah, we've been trying to clear the decks, and it's been a lot of work. So right. So yes, apply for raises so you don't have to break the bank. The pledge manager, and also, so folks, this campaign a great way. Also, the backer kit pledge manager for the reprint campaign. If you are just getting into Rifts for Savage Worlds, those are 2 great places to get a bunch of back stuff and then save on the shipping because we do campaign shipping, which is we can't beat it during the normal time. So if you are, especially if you're in that cold north of Canada or Europe, back campaigns, the best way to get the shipping as low as we can get it to you guys. So.
Yeah, and I will say there was a comment asking about the romance companion.
Yes.
Not a joke. I am actively working on that. It won't be soon. There are other things coming out well before it, but it is in development and it's awesome.
It is manifesting itself. Like the internal, just like we should do it. So
you couldn't stop it.
Right? You can't. What do they say about Inception? Like once you have you can't kill an idea. Once the idea exists, it's there. So romance companion might be a thing. So yeah, folks, we're going to call this one a wrap. So you guys can all go and grab some food and bathroom time. And we will be back on this channel in 25 minutes for Savage Universe. We've got Arudi and Sebi from the Geeks and Gamers website and channel, and they're going to talk about their wildly successful Pathfinder for Savage Worlds Curse of the Crimson Throne actual play, which is like double digits episodes. I think episode maybe 16 is coming up. So join us back here at the bottom of the half hour. And otherwise, for everybody else, thanks for joining us. Aaron, PK, Patrick, and as always, Daryl.
Thank you guys so much for showing up.
Always a pleasure.
I'll see the rest of you guys watching in half an hour. But if you don't see it, get out there and play some Savage Worlds this weekend. Hopefully some Savage Rifts. And for folks who are just did their first campaign, in about a month from now, we will have PDFs for you once Kickstarter finalizes the list of backers. So we appreciate you. Other than that, I'm just going to hit end stream. So cheers, folks.
Bye.